everybody, and welcome back. Actually, not welcome back, but welcome to HLM 22 here with our San Jose Sharks GM mode episode 1. And as you can see, this is a much different looking game. HLM 22, I did a review earlier today. I'm going to record a few episodes here, but yeah, this is a great looking game. There are still some bugs that the developers have to iron out, but other than that, I really like this game. So this episode, we're going to go over the lineup. We're kind of going to go over the expectations for this team in my eyes, and you know, probably get a couple things done, put some players on the trade block, look at the contract situation, kind of just get all the, you know, first episode management stuff out of the way. So I am really excited to hop into this new chapter of our GM mode career here with the San Jose Sharks. And without further ado, let's begin. Okay, starting here with the lineup screen, everybody. And you can see right off the bat in the top there, the ratings: 83 offense, 84 defense, 81 goaltending. Whew, it does not look pretty, but what do we have to work with? This is the forward core. So Logan Couture, Thomas Hertl, Evander Kane. We have a good top six in my opinion. You know, a lot of leadership guys like Couture, Kane, Benino in there, and also a good mix of young guys with Hertl, LeBanc, and Meyer. And even in the bottom six, you got guys like Dylan Gambrell, Nick Merkley, Barabanov, and Rudolph Balcers, and even Joachim Blichfeld sitting on the bench who can, you know, provide some really good offense and youth to the team. But yeah, really, we don't have a big leader. I mean, Logan Couture would be that big leader on the team. Obviously, they're at, you know, as the captain, but really we're lacking that huge number one player. We have three guys tied for 86 overall on that first line, and then you can see that we have an 85 in Timo Meier, an 84 in Kevin LeBanc, and then from there it's just kind of a bunch of low 80s, high 70s players, which is not great. Our depth is going to get pretty exposed this year, I think. We do definitely need to get a fourth line center before the season begins. I'll probably look in free agency to do that. But I will save that until after the lineup look. So yeah, now moving on to the defensive core. Look at that. Yeah, again, an 84 defense. This is supposed to be the strong point of the team. Brent Burns, Erik Karlsson as our first line, and then you got Marc-Edouard Vlasic and Mario Ferraro on the second line. I'm going to do a little switch here and just switch up Vlasic and Karlsson. So now you got Vlasic on the first with Burns, and then Ferraro on the second with Karlsson. And on that third line, you have Radim Simek with, I don't even know who this guy is, Nikolai Nazov. He had a pretty decent year at Niazov, just a decent kind of two-way defenseman. And then we have Ryan Merkley sitting on the bench. I'll probably be playing him in the AHL this year, no questions about that. And then in net, we have Adin Hill and James Reimer. Adin Hill, a newly acquired member of this team, a young 25-year-old netminder coming over from the Arizona Coyotes. He had himself a pretty good year there last year. 19 games played, 913 save percentage, 9 wins. I liked what I saw from Adin Hill last year. He was actually, I think, an 80 overall coming in with this roster I have. I made him an 82. Still has a bit to prove, but I also made a medium starter. You know, 25 years old. If he has a good year this year, he'll probably jump to that 84 or 85. So, you know, a goalie who could potentially be our starter for the next couple of years. And we also have James Reimer, who's a newly acquired player on this team, 33 years old. Had a little bit of a down year, but he is getting older. Still a 906 with 15 wins, so you know, a brand new goaltending duo here in San Jose, a pretty young team overall, and, you know, obviously the ratings show that we are a very inexperienced team and a bottom feeder team as well. So that is it for the NHL roster. Let's take a look at what we have in the AHL now. So looking at our AHL talent pool, starting here with 2021 first round pick William Eklund. As you can see, 18 years old, 76 overall with that 77 offensive skill. This is going to be the future of this team. This is our next franchise player. He has not played anything yet, but drafted 7th overall. I'm really excited to see what William Eklund can do this year in the AHL. If he, you know, plays well enough, you might see him get a short jump to the NHL level. But yeah, really exciting player, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do. The next guy is a bit more of an interesting one, and that is 23-year-old Jonathan Dahlen. This is a guy a couple years ago who had a lot of potential to become a great top 6 player in the Vancouver Canucks system, got dealt to San Jose, and he's kind of in the same boat as William Eklund right now with that 75 overall, 77 offensive skill. And this is a guy who has not played in the NHL yet, a former second-round pick by Ottawa, but a guy who can kind of be a do-or-die player for us with that medium top 9 potential. Still has a couple years to grow, and if he puts up a good enough season in the AHL, might be able to see him get a full roster spot next year at the NHL level. But definitely an interesting prospect here, an interesting young player for us, and I'm really hoping that he turns out for us as well. The next guy I would like to highlight here is 22-year-old center Alexander Chemlevski. This was a 6th round pick for the Sharks back in 2017. He's pretty much on the verge of 23, but another very good, interesting player. 74 overall with the 76 offensive skill. Last year in San Jose only played 5 games, but I liked what I saw from him last year in those 5 games in real life. And again, top 9 potential, a guy who is in a bit of a better situation than Jonathan Dahlen in terms of development, but again, a very crucial AHL season for him. If he doesn't perform, then that overall is not going to get any better, and this is a guy that, we would really like to see come to the NHL level in the next couple of years, and I am really hoping that he will succeed at doing so. And the final forward who I would like to highlight in the AHL system is Ivan Chekovich, another 22-year-old medium top 9 guy. This one's 72 overall with a 74 offensive skill. All these AHL forwards very offensive minded, but Chekovich last year in 4 games put up 1 assist for 1 point, a former 7th round pick in the same year as Chemlevski, and this is a guy who just put up 34 points in 43 KHL games, so a guy who I have very high expectations for coming into this AHL season, a guy who I'd love to see in the NHL lineup again in the next couple seasons. And if I do see him in the NHL lineup, then that's a huge win for the draft team, getting this guy in the 7th round. So let's move on to the defensive side of things. And the first defensive prospect I would like to highlight is Ryan Merkley, 21-year-old right-handed shot defenseman coming out of London. And this guy is great. Medium top 4 potential offensive defenseman. You can see the 74 overall offensive trait. And this is a guy who, again, I would love to see succeed at the AHL level. He was a 1st round pick back in 2018. Ryan Merkley was a bit of an interesting pick back in that 2018 draft, a guy who could have potentially went in the higher teens, but he fell to 21 to the Sharks, and this is going to be a great offensive defenseman for us, kind of a Brent Burns replacement, if you will. Obviously not as big as Brent Burns, but definitely can add the offensive firepower to a similar rate that Brent Burns does. So this is a guy who, the development here is kind of crucial to our success, and if he doesn't develop right, then that's really going to set us back in this franchise mode. So a guy who I'd really like to see put up some strong numbers this year at the AHL level, and we will see if he does that. And the only other defensive prospect I would like to highlight is 24-year-old Nicholas Malak. You can see only low top 6 potential and 72 overall, but if you get one really good year out of this guy, you could potentially see him jump up, 6, 7, 8 overall, and this guy could potentially be a 3rd-line player for us next year. Very unlikely combined with the age and the potential and the low overall for his age. This is a guy who was a former 2nd round pick, still has a little bit of that potential left in the tank, so we will see if he can generate and, come out to be anything for us. Even though I highly doubt it, I still thought Nicholas Malak was worth noting. And finally, at the goaltending position, the only real goaltending prospect I think is worth noting is 2021 3rd round pick, Benjamin Gaudreau. He will be playing in Sarnia this year at a 63 overall, but definitely a guy who I'd like to see in the AHL level by probably 21 years old. You can see the high-low starter potential there. A guy who might be able to turn into a backup for us, a very good backup, mind you, at an 83, 84 potentially, but definitely a guy who I'm going to be tracking, keeping my eye on with his development, considering he was a 3rd round pick, and definitely a guy who I had some troubles with the Sharks drafting back in the 3rd round in that draft. Benjamin Gaudreau, I didn't really like the numbers I saw from him, but we will see what his development brings to the table. We'll see if he can develop at all, and I'm really excited for the future of this young man. now taking a look at the staffing team, one thing that I noticed with this squad is that the goaltending is very weak, so I decided to bring in some goaltending friendly coaches. As you can see, our head coach, Harry, or Hib Eagles, what a weird name, has that A+ for goaltending and also a solid A for development. And as you can see, our assistant coach as well, Torchetti, he has a C+ for goaltending. That is the best I could find. And in the AHL, our head coach, Sommer, has a C for goaltending as well. So definitely a position I would love to work on. The penalty kill and the power play suffer a little bit from all the rest of the stats being up. But you can see our best stat is the defense at a +1. And this is a coaching staff I'm overall happy with. Right now, we will see if it does well or not, but for the time being, I'm fine with the coaching staff, and I'm really hoping for some good goaltending development out of that, because like I said, it is the weakest aspect of that team, or of this team, and I'd love to get it some help. So here in the free agent market, looking for a free agent center, I've decided to re-sign center Ryan Donato, 81 overall. This is a guy who succeeded in our system last year. He had 20 points for himself in 50 games. I do believe I can develop Donato into a decent third line kind of center. 25 years old, medium top 9 potential, and he has high interest with signing with the team. So I am going to bring him in on a 1 year or maybe 2 year. I'll start him off with a 1 year deal worth $1.558 million. That is the offer sent. We will see if he re-signs probably in the next episode, but as we can see with the lineup page here, we do have a center gap to fill, especially in that bottom 6 with guys like, let me just go back to the NHL here, Gambrel and Nieto. So Donato will play a third line center role for us, Gambrel will be a fourth, and then Nieto will be on the bench while Eklund gets sent back down to the AHL for development, and that is the overall plan for now. And one more thing I wanted to go over before we ended this video was the team rankings. Currently, we rank as the 25th team in the league, so not the worst, the 7th worst in fact, but we are definitely not in a position we want to be. As you can see, my last GM mode, the Minnesota Wild, currently ranked 23rd, so we definitely have some spots to climb if we are going to be a winner, a contender, and a overall successful hockey team. But starting from the bottom, we will see if we will get here. Now we here. Starting from the bottom, I am literally here now in San Jose, so we will see if I can turn this team around, but it is definitely going to be a challenge. So that is going to cap it off for episode 1. If you guys enjoyed, please do be sure to like and subscribe the video. I'm very enthusiastic. I can't even speak. I'm very enthusiastic about this series. I can't even speak. I'm so enthusiastic. And, just a pretty quick, introduction episode, getting used to the team, looking at some of the young, promising guys. In next episode, we will be doing some scouting, probably a World Juniors or whatever, and kind of, seeing if we can sign Donato, going over the lineup, adjusting it, and then potentially getting into our first game ever as the GM of the San Jose Sharks. But anyways, again, thank you all so much for watching this video, and I will catch you all in the next one. But for now, bye.